Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome back to another Eternal Top Deck series here on EternalTitans.com. Been a while since the last deck tech, so it's time to finally give you a new deck. We had some big balance changes lately and they brought back an old favorite, TJP Alessi Aggro. And I want to share my current version with you. There's quite a bunch of new cards that you can mess around with, but this is the version that I like the most so far and made the most sense to me and has been working quite well for me on ladder so far. So let's dive right in. But before we do, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future content, and please consider whitelisting EternalTitans.com and YouTube to help support the free content. Now on to the deck. Okay, so this is the deck. Been a while since we talked about this deck, since it got hit with 2 nerfs after it was super popular and super powerful, and then vanished into obscurity because it was too bad. And one of those changes sort of has been undone with the Levitate change. The deck is still definitely not quite what it used to be, but it is quite playable again and closer to its former glory. And it got a couple of new toys that also help. Okay, so first off we have 28 units. 4 Alessi, 4 Awakened Student, 4 Dusk Raider, 4 Hojan, 4 Rilgon's Disciple, 4 Great Valley Smuggler, and 4 Kosul Battlemage. Alessi, not much explanation needed. Neither with Student, it's just a great card, powerful 2-drop. Has the stats of like a 3 or 4 drop easily for 2 power. Great deal here, also works well with the Renown from Hojan, and just an overall amazing cheap threat. Also used to be in the old version. Dusk Raider is a card that was kind of underestimated and misunderstood, I think, last time the deck was around, which is why it wasn't in there. It probably should have been, and now that everyone knows how awesome Dusk Raider is, it's kind of a no-brainer for off here, especially with all the combat tricks. Yeah, trying to kill your opponent fast with big threats and berserk units. Hojan is a great new addition, and thanks to the change to Levitate, has a couple of very solid renown enablers here. Finest Hour, Gift of Battle, Levitate, even Reinvigorate, and market cards. So this is easily triggered, making this a 4/3 lifesteal and one time a 6/5, and also helping to grow Awakened Student and providing additional cards, which is great. And the lifesteal, of course, makes it that much harder to race us between Hojan. Rilgon's Disciple, another staple of the old version. Well, we all know how brutal Berserk is combined with double damage. You basically deal quadruple damage and can kill people real fast, especially if you fly over their blockers. Great Valley Smuggler is the merchant of choice, since I think a 2/2 Yennefer merchant is just not good enough anymore. And yeah, any other merchant is not particularly appealing. Like Winchest Merchant is an okay option because it flies, but most of the cards you really want from your market are green. But I don't know, maybe there is a worthwhile version with a green market instead of a Elysian market. But this market just provides a lot of flexibility. We get to run a cheap universal fast removal type card in Equivocate. We get to run 1 accelerated evolution. While the card is nerfed and is a lot more clunky and a lot worse now, it can still be very good to get 2 spells and be able to give 2 units evasion if you get into standoff, which is why I'm currently running. I'm not 100% sure it belongs, but it's probably not in the market. Then we have a mirror image, just to generate more threats with the market, either just by getting rid of spare power by copying the Smuggler and just go into the market again, turn a dead card into a relevant card, or just copying one of our premium Awakens if they're already big, or just make another Kosul Battlemage threats against controlling opponent. Then we have a Stand Together. Since there's none in the main, the card is a bit clunky and a bit situational and not quite as good, with a fair share of the more reactive decks running Vara, but when it's good, it's great, so having access to it virtually 4 copies is pretty nice. Then we have Decklist, an amazing threat. The deck is not always that great at having double time, but as a market card that's not really a problem. When you have it, you can get it if else. And yeah, you want a unit in the market because Dusk Raider into Merchant, getting a Berserk Decklist is really powerful. And yeah, having a powerful charge overwhelm threat, especially with Berserk, is great, so definitely a good market slot here. The market is slightly expensive, and there are definitely options, like I recently cut the Permafrost for an accelerated evolution, since the only upside of Permafrost really is that it's 1 cheaper than Equivocate, but it is less flexible and kind of in a rough spot right now. Other options include something like Lightning Storm or Torrential Downpour, small fragile units, especially multiples of them, but that also didn't seem that needed right now. And yeah, counters like Backlash are another option, but it seems like Stand Together is a bit better, more versatile card that does mostly the same, since countering is mostly relevant and too, but could still see arguments. Then we have for Kosul Battlemage, just another efficient threat, basically on average a 4/4 Aegis in the deck, can even grow bigger. The fact that it has Aegis is pretty vital, like reactive decks, especially with sweepers, to have a way to develop board without being. And then we have a lot of cheap spells. Be Gone is another new addition that I really liked, since it makes it so much easier to just kind of get rid of their blocker and kill them. And I really didn't feel like I need additional removal. This is part of what really turned the deck a lot more explosive and a lot more into like Berserk aggro combo deck, rather than the old version that was a bit more good stuffy and a bit slower and a bit traditional aggro. This is a bit more bursty, it's a bit more infect deck and then Be Gone is great. It's a 1-man answer to anything, and the color fixing is relevant. Can fix the second trust Battlemage, which comes up occasionally, and makes the card that much easier to play. And yeah, I've been super happy with this, and I definitely like this in the Equivocate in the market, since the upside of Equivocate is pretty small, and costing half the power and fixing your colors is really, really good, especially when the transform and fast, and being fast doesn't matter that much. Remove a blocker, buff your Battlemage, turn on your Disciple, and buff your... and being able to play as many spells as... Then for Finest Hour, cheap, efficient spell for all the spells in a pump spell, also a great way. Really good with double damage. Gift of Battle is a bit hit or miss. The card can be awkward in your hand when kind of just fighting their board, and then Gift doesn't really do that much, but it gives the deck a lot of burst. It's a cheap spell. It enables Renown, like even jamming it a Hojan and attacking for 12, gaining 12 health is powerful. And then you also get a power in return, so throwing away the card either. And when it's not that great, you have 4 merch. Tuck it into you. Just gives the deck more. That's great. Unreliable. Then we have the 4 change Levitate. Well, 1-mana cantrips are great, like 1-power cantrips are great in a deck like this. Even better if they let you fly over blockers to kill them, and if they turn Renown. Just an amazing all-star here. The fact that you can't target opposing creatures is not very relevant. You don't really care about opposing Aegis, you don't really have removal. Like, the only thing that sometimes could matter is like popping the Aegis on an Aegis guy, bouncing it with Gone. I mean, you can't have it all. the fact that it only costs 1 is so much more important than targeting opposing units. And then we have for Reinvigorate. That's kind of a more recent discovery of mine when I'm through Berserk deck, similar to Felon Berserk. I tried to take on that and realized how good Reinvigorate is, that it usually is like and Endurance for 2 power, and if the unit already has a battle skill, it's +4/+4 for 2 power and gives the unit endurance permanently, which is great, especially with Decklist from Berserk. What you basically do is you attack with your Berserk unit, activate the Berserk so it gets reckless, then after attacking you play Invigorate, and then a 2 power of 4/4 on a Battlemage, on a Disciple, on a Hojan with Empower, and for the other 3 you basically would need. But yeah, if you have a Levitate on one of those 12 that already have a battle skill, then it even becomes a 2 power +5 insane amount. Especially with that's effectively dealing 8 to with a power card, and that's why the deck is so expensive and kills people so hard and so fast. The deck almost has a bit too much power with 25 power and 2 Seek, but you kind of need the Seeks because otherwise your color requirements are a bit iffy, and also sometimes you rather have a power too much than one too a little, because then you can't burst people and you have Smuggler to get rid of spare power, but you might still sometimes flood a bit. If I could justify it, I would probably cut one or both Seek power, but like I said, the color requirement here, then could see and try going down, but as you can see, the requirements are 12, 14, 16 on Primal and Time, like the minimum that I'm comfortable with 2 drops in both, needing both colors to properly work. And then in Justice we have like 12, 17, 19 with a double Justice guy. And yeah, if you would cut these, you basically add a Time Sigil over like 2 Justice Sigils, but then you would end up with like 15 each, which is kind of bad. Like, I don't know, you could maybe cut 1 and do that, and then go 16 each, and rely on the double Justice for your Battlemage, get it from Begone and Hojan, but that's kind of wonky just to get rid of 1 power. That's not that. Also, Seek power has good synergy with Alessi, Rilgon, and Battlemage, and extra power has Hojan, Awakened Student. I don't know, maybe you can, I don't know, cut one of these, turn 2 Justice Sigils into a Time Sigil and a Primal Sigil, and somehow fit like a Crownwatch tactic or something, but these kind of make clunky Crests too happy, which is why I left it. All the other options worth and should make the deck. In the past there were like 2 Crownwatch tactics and they were a bit clunky. I don't know, you consider trying to cut 2 of these Crownwatch tactic and see how that plays out, but it's 6 depleted power and not that many sigils for speed, which makes it definitely clunky. And we already now have 4 lifesteal Hojan, not that important anymore, but I mean, it would mitigate the flood issue a bit at the cost of deck run. And the deck fairly happy 5 power. Yeah, have that big bounce deck eye, Berserk kill them. So it's usually only like this power that's kind of bad, and that's not that likely to happen in the average game. Okay, that's the current list. If you have any further questions that I didn't cover in here, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, as usual, gonna hop into some games, show how to pilot it and how it plays out in the current metagame. So stay tuned for game 1 coming up in a moment.